Well, here we are. UFC 263 Adesanya versus Vettori 2 is upon us. Right now, it's the night before the press conference. I thought I'd make my predictions now because I'm probably going to get influenced by the press conference a little bit. So here we are. Let's start right from the top. In our main event, Israel Adesanya versus Marlon Vettori 2. Obviously, this is the sequel. It's the second fight they had. I watched back their first fight, and I mean, I don't know the exact date or whatever, but it was a while ago, and just visual analysis that I've gotten is that they've both gotten so much better that it's almost like there's no point of going back to that fight. I know, like, at this point, it seems like Vettori's biggest confidence going into the fight is that he beat Adesanya in that first fight. One, it doesn't matter because every fight's going to be different. Two, Adesanya won that one. Even though it was a split decision, I personally believe Adesanya won that fight quite comfortably. Comfortably, 2 rounds to 1. But yeah, so in terms of the fight itself, because I think it's going to be different, for Vettori, I think he's going to come into the fight thinking that Jan Blachowicz has put out the game plan for him, that you just need to pretty much wait for him to start. Don't allow him to be the counterfighter, let him lead the dance. Wait for it, strike, stand up with him, and then in the later rounds, when he least expects it, to take him down and just sit on top of him, basically. But I think it'd be quite foolish of him to try and employ that same game strategy this time against Izzy. Izzy, from what I can see, he seems like a very good martial artist in the fact that he's lost this one, but I think he's been excited because of all those results, because of the weaknesses he found in his game, and he's gone, okay, sweet, let's go back home, rest our wounds, get straight back on, and see how can we improve myself so that doesn't happen ever again. So I think Vettori tries to cut and copy Jan's strategy. I don't think it's going to go well for him. In terms of Israel Adesanya, I don't know the odds. I don't really care about the odds too much, but I think Adesanya is going to win this one. Yeah, screw it, I'll go out one. I think he's going to win it quite comfortably. Obviously, his I think number one go-to plan will be keep the fight at distance, keep it standing up, and just piece Vettori apart. And watching Vettori's other fights, he reacts a lot to fakes or just taunts or just like a little step forward or something. Vettori was from him while around. He moves a lot to all of them. And I think Izzy obviously incorporates a lot of that in his striking. So I feel like Vettori is just going to bite on everything Adesanya gives, and that's obviously just going to help Adesanya. So, and here's my wild prediction. I think because of how everyone's just gone and shit talked Adesanya's wrestling, he can't defend takedowns, blah blah blah, because of that one fight against Jan. Honestly, it would not surprise me if Adesanya shot and took Vettori down, like at the end of the fight when he's clearly winning. So that's my outrageous prediction, that Adesanya will complete his first ever takedown in the UFC of Marlon Vettori. But yeah, in terms of the official prediction, I think Adesanya wins by decision, and a quite clear and comfortable decision. That'd be my pick. Yeah. Next fight, we've got our co-main event. Another rematch, Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno 2. Oh my god, I loved their first fight. It was so cool watching that live. It felt like, honestly, the draw I can't speak. I think honestly the result of being a draw, I'm not. I don't care too much about that. It didn't feel like any of them lost. It didn't look like anyone really put a stamp on the win. So I think it's fair, and I'm quite happy with the draw with that being a result. But again, like the Adesanya Vettori fight, every fight's going to be different, and unfortunately, I don't think the first fight's going to live up to the expectations. The second fight's going to live up to the expectations of the first fight, because as much as the fighters themselves, Figgy and Moreno, might have loved and enjoyed it, they want to do that same one again. I know for a fact their coaches are looking back at that fight, pulling their hair out like, why are we doing this? We don't want wars. We want perfection. We want to just not even give the other opponent, your opponent, a chance. So I feel like it's going to be a lot more cautious fight. And being a lot more cautious, I think that's going to allow for Figgy's one-hitter quitter type power to shine a lot more than Moreno's. Obviously, Moreno can possibly knock out and hurt Figgy with one shot. I mean, he did it a few times in their first fight, but I just feel like Figgy's going to land something big. It's going to be a lot slower paced, more slower for flyweights, and for their first fight, slower paced fight. And I think that's just as soon as Moreno makes a mistake, I think it's going to catch him. I think Figgy's going to win with a knockout, probably round 2. I think it's fairly early on. There was, oh yes. Also, I know Figgy was saying, he did. He wasn't just saying. He had those problems with the weigh-in and he wasn't 100% in the fight. But from just my visual analysis of it, it didn't seem like his power or speed was really affected by it until the later rounds, whereas I think it was more gas tank that fed into that. So I think people who are saying that, oh, Figgy's going to be 100% this time, so it's going to be a lot easier. Moreno was 100%, Figgy was only 60% or whatever, so Figgy's going to be amazing this time. I don't think that. I think it was the gas tank that mostly got affected. But in saying that, I'm still picking Figgy round 2 knockouts, a 1-punch KO. I do think that's going to be it. The next one, we have a 5-round normal fight, non-main event or anything, between Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz. I think it's fun watching Nate Diaz fights. It's always fun. But honestly, this is a terrible matchup for him. He's been screwed over terribly. Leon Edwards is going to dominate Diaz. Again, like I said, I don't know the odds for any of these fights. If Nate Diaz isn't like a plus 1,000 underdog, then it's not right. Leon Edwards is going to maul Nate Diaz into oblivion the entire fight. There's not a single way I see Nate Diaz winning this fight. I literally can't see one. The only thing would be like Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva, where gets dominated and throws up a triangle and somehow gets it at the end. I think this is one that a lot of people are excited for. I don't understand how it's going to be a very boring and very grueling 5-round decision for Leon Edwards. It's going to be a maul, really. So, Diaz, it's good you're back and all, but you've got another L. You've got another L coming your way. Next up, we have Damian Maia and Belal Muhammad. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know too much about either of them. Obviously, I'm not the newest or most hardcore MMA fan. I just enjoy it, so that's why I'm talking about it. Belal Muhammad, I've only watched one of his fights ever. being the eye poke by Leon Edwards. So I can't really go too much off of him. But I think I'm going to go more on the negatives of Damian Maia in that he is, I'll get the official stat. Ooh, he is 43 years old, like, and he's had, this will be his 39th fight, and he's 43. I think age is going to be the biggest factor in this fight. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think Gilbert Burns like finished Damian Maia with a jab in the first round, which was a terrible look for Damian Maia. So, yeah, someone that old, I think in MMA especially, is dangerous. In any combat sports, it's just dangerous. So, purely because I don't think Damian Maia will be able to hold up in his age, I'm picking Bilal Muhammad by knockout round 1, purely because of that. And the last one on our pay-per-view main card is Paul Craig versus Jamal Hill. Again, don't really know about them too much. I think I've watched a Paul Craig fight. Oh yeah, I watched it. It was on in the background. I wasn't paying too much attention of it. I do remember that now. And then Jamal Hill, I did watch his OSP fight, which was pretty cool. I thought, well, I only knew OSP because he was a former. Was it? I think he was a former interim title challenger, or he just fought Jones on his return. But yeah, I don't have a lot to go off of this one. I know Paul Craig is a submission artist, I think, and Jamal Hill's a stand-up fighter. So, purely by that logic, I think Paul Craig's going to submit him. I think Jamal Hill is he's undefeated, but he's only 8-0. So I think he's going to get very excited, try and get an early knockout. Probably not going to find it, and Paul Craig's going to submit him late round 1. Submission by Paul Craig, late round 1. Yes. Yeah, and there we have it. Those are my predictions for UFC 263. Let's see how many I get wrong, because that will probably be how it is. So I've gone with Adesanya by decision. I went Figueiredo by round 2 knockout. Leon Edwards by an absolute mauling landslide, 50-45s. Leon Edwards decision. Don't know if that made sense. Bilal Muhammad, first round knockout against the old as Damian Maia, and Paul Craig by late first round submission. Cool.